Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the kickoff of the new EU project called Danube's Archaeological eLandscapes. It's a project with the full title Virtual Archaeological Landscapes of the Danube region. The project is co-financed by the Interreg Transnational program and is going to last for the next 2.5 years. First, I would like to thank to the band, Gestrichen Fui. Oh God, my they will accompany us through the whole evening, and I hope we will enjoy some beautiful music. It's the first time that our institution is actually hosting such a, let's say, hybrid event, but there are special times. And it consists of joint streamed online and, of course, local events in the 10 countries of the Danube region. In the coming hour, we will have archaeology, we will have music, and we will have greetings from the partners in all of these 10 countries. So, let us start. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Wolfgang Muhic, Director of the Universal Museum Janneum, to speak his greeting words. Please.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, also a very warm welcome to you all here in the auditorium in Graz and, of course, especially on the screens back home to the kickoff of our EU project Danube's Archaeological eLandscapes. It's a pleasure for us to see that 23 institutions from 10 different countries represented by the flags here in the Danube region from Germany to Bulgaria are joining their efforts to promote the archaeological heritage and the archaeological landscape of the Danube region on a national and international level by the means of technology, especially digitalization, and we will see VR tools, augmented reality tools, and virtual reality tools. I would like, and this project is also running on the basis of one of our former projects, Iron Age Danube. I would like to thank all the partners for participating and joining these efforts. I would like to thank my own team here back home, Karl Peitler, Marco Millet, and Sarah Kister, for once again taking the lead in such a big project. And I wish you, of course, all the best for the coming months for the project, which I'm sure will be a big success. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Dr. Mujic. I think it's time that we all learn what is the project actually about. I would like to ask our researcher in the project, Magistra Sarah Kister, to give us some insight. What are we going to do in the next years? Please, Sarah.
A warm welcome from me as well at our kick-off of the EU project Virtual Archaeological Landscapes of the Danube region, which is quite a long name, so there's a shorter name, Danube's Archaeological eLandscapes. So maybe you can remember this name. I now have the honor to present to you our project just in a few words, just about 2 minutes, just some facts. The EU project was launched on July 1st this year under the leadership of the Universalmuseum Ioneum, and it will last now for a total of 13 months until the end of the year 2022. The project is funded by the EU program Interreg Danube Transnational program with an overall budget of around 2.5 million euro by the European Regional Development Fund, as well as the IPA, the Instrument for Pre-Accession Assistance. Overall, 23 partners from 10 countries have set themselves the goal of making the archaeological heritage, and in particular the archaeological landscapes of the Danube region, more visible and thus more attractive at regional, national, and international level, with the help of state-of-the-art technology. Project partners come from Austria, Slovenia, Hungary, Romania, the Czech Republic, Croatia, Germany, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Slovakia. The main actors of the project are internationally renowned museums, which also want to focus their work outside the institutions on the most famous archaeological landscapes of the Danube region. New technologies can help us archaeologists now to visualize archaeological heritage in a completely new way and make it accessible to the public in an attractive way. By incorporating, for example, virtual reality and augmented reality technologies, museum visitors do not only have the possibility to see history in a totally new way, but we also want to encourage those visitors to want to get to know the rich archaeological heritage, not only in the museum exhibitions, but also in the context of the landscapes from which they come. Furthermore, our aim is that museum visitors should not only stay in their own country, but also look beyond modern national borders and learn about a long-forgotten history of the Danube region. And to do that, please stay healthy, take care of yourself, take care of your family, so we hopefully see you as soon as possible at our museums in other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Now it's coming the heavy part. Will the technology at the start of the project work as we planned? We will start by just calling Ljubljana. So the neighbors, they shouldn't be so hard. So Ljubljana, can you hear us? The stage is actually yours.
dear friends and colleagues. These are your partners from Ljubljana calling, if we consider us as kind of a Eurovision contest, because of the nice music we were able to enjoy. First, I would like to introduce you to our musician, Katinka Dimitrowska. She was performing on a replica of our greatest pride, the Neanderthal flute, which is 60,000 years old. She's playing on a replica. Her father was the first one who tried to use this archaeological piece, and he made a number of copies of replicas, and he is the one who proved that this stone object made of a bone of a young caveman is actually a musical instrument. So, in order to keep it shorter, I would just like to stress that we are very, very happy to be a part of this large and homogeneous and different group of institutions, and we are looking forward to contribute to the success of this project. So I would like to introduce you the other director, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jernej Hudulin, the director of the Institute for Protection of Cultural Heritage of Slovenia. I would just like to say that me and Barbara are confident that the whole project team will do their work excellent, especially with eminent lead partners, Universal Museum Ioannea. The benefit will be not only for project partners, but for all institutions dealing with cultural heritage. Thank you.
Yes, and if you could conclude in the way of the European context, let's say 12 points for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
So, thanks a lot, Ljubljana. That went well. Ooh, the first one. So we are now leaving Ljubljana and going to Hungary. So from Budapest, we will be greeted by the colleagues from the Hungarian National Museum. So let's try this.
And I just began to speak. Yes, that's right. My dear colleagues, we come from Budapest, we come from Hungary. What is Europe? Is it a simple geographical unit? A set of nations living next to each other by accident? Or is it a multi-layered and deeply interwoven structure of cultural heritage? And if we speak about heritage, is it simply the heritage of our collective national memories? Or can we possibly go beyond it? Where are the boundaries, both in time and space, of our past and remembrances? Our project will expand the time scale the everyday person would come across when thinking about the history of landscapes. It will widen the visitor's perspective with ancient and prehistoric connections, networks and systems deeply embedded in its regional geographical settings, as these appeared through time and space in the ever-growing development of mankind. I think this project is a fabulous initiative because it will open up the horizons of the visitor towards the everyday perspectives of largely unknown cultures, civilizations, and the interconnection amongst them that existed in times immemorial. It will emphasize the deep connection and interdependence of the subregions with respect to environment, communication, and cooperation. It will show that political history is not the sole and perhaps not the most important factor in revealing developments through a journey across time. Not only academic content will settle our activities. The tools which I use are forward-looking as well. Digitization, visualization, and cultural thematic routes indicate new opportunities for participating institutions. We can reach out new groups of audience. We can communicate with them by using up-to-date technology, and we shall support lifelong learning and indeed entertaining approaches for a comprehension of a largely forgotten past. The Hungarian National Museum is honored to participate in this project, to work with a 10-nation-strong community of experts for revealing and distributing the special archaeological knowledge through new forms of state-of-art communication and inducting a deeper and wider understanding of a common European history. And now we stand to a piece of a contemporary Hungarian composer, Rezső Ott, entitled Diabolezza, presented by Benjamin Dolphin. Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Budapest. Thank you, Mr. Benedek Varga, Director of the Museum. Thanks to the colleagues to adding to the program today. We are moving along the Danube, continuing to Bucharest in Romania. So, National History Museum of Romania, the stage is yours.
A warm salute from Bucharest to everybody. I'm deeply sorry that in this very special situation we cannot be together. but we would like to stress out the honor in participating in this project, that the National History Museum of Romania has a huge opportunity to cooperate with you all in presenting in a better way, in a more attractive way, its archaeological collections. And I would like to point out that our choices for the cases to be built in this project relate to a late Bronze Age collection and to Byzantine and late Byzantine site along the Danube. All the best, and we do hope that the next meeting will be possible to be a direct one.
So thanks a lot, Bucharest. It is difficult. There are difficult times, so we have really different situation in different countries. Now we are making a big jump to the north. Let's go to Prague. So let's start the movie.
everyone. I'm Josef Souček, as you may have seen me on the video. And I'm speaking here instead of our manager, Marika Tisucka, who can't be unfortunately here because of medical reasons. But we are extremely happy and excited about this project. And we are looking forward to sort of connect the Czech Republic back to the Danubian region where I think it sort of belongs. So we are looking forward to all the exciting opportunities, all the exciting challenges we are going to face. And I'm really glad we are in. Have the rest of the event. Bye.
Thanks a lot to Prague. I think that was a perfect ending of the movie. Let us continue to Zagreb in Croatia. So we are jumping a bit through the countries. Hello, Zagreb.
Hello? Hello, Marco. Hello, everyone. Please receive warm greetings from Zagreb, from the Archaeological Museum, and on behalf of all our colleagues, as well as our partners from the Institute of Anthropology, the Donja Voća municipality, and Center for Prehistoric Research, please allow me to express our joy and gratitude that we are once again partnering up with such an illustrious team of experts and colleagues from, this time, not 4 or 5, but 10 countries. In a way, this is a sort of a follow-up of the previous project, Iron Age Danube, and what I can say is that the results of that project are very tangible, and we are certain that over the years to come, we shall still be harvesting the fruits of what we have been doing in the previous 2 years. This is absolutely also a foundation on which we build our trust that what we are jointly going to do for the next 2.5 years is going to not only match, but definitely to surpass our results and fulfill our wishes in bringing and presenting to the wider public the archaeological beauties of the Danube region. We have decided to show you a thing that was not that rosy. You've seen that half a year ago, Zagreb was hit by a very severe earthquake. And honestly, for the past 6 months, a lot of what we have been doing was either directly or indirectly connected with the earthquake. However, this is simply to acquaint you with some of the things that are on our minds. But let us assure you that in the next 30 months, we will focus most intensely on the Danube's Archaeological eLandscapes project. And we are looking forward to working with you very, very much. So, with warm greetings on behalf of all of our team, looking forward to working with you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Sanjin. Thank you to Zagreb. All the best. I hope the project will help you to maybe recover also faster. And now we are going over the Alps. So let's go to Stuttgart. Hallo.
Hier werden Kulturdenkmale des Landes erfasst, dokumentiert und erforscht. Zudem werden die Eigentümer beraten und das kulturelle Erbe sowie Maßnahmen zu seinem Erhalt in der Öffentlichkeit vermittelt. Hinter den Kulissen setzen Spezialisten für ihre tägliche Arbeit modernste Techniken ein.
Das ehemalige Schelztor-Gymnasium, der heutige Sitz des Landesamtes für Denkmalpflege im Regierungspräsidium, gehört zu den stattlichsten Bauwerken der zweiten Hälfte des 19. Jahrhunderts in Esslingen. 1876 als Realanstalt erbaut, wurde das Gebäude bis 1979 weiterhin als Schule genutzt, als Gymnasium. Danach folgten Jahre des Leerstands und auch der Ungewissheit, und eine Abbruchgenehmigung wurde erteilt. Glückliche Umstände und eine sehr engagierte Bürgerschaft in Esslingen ermöglichten, dass das Gebäude erhalten wurde und einer Umnutzung zugeführt werden konnte. Im Jahr 2003 konnten die behutsamen Umbaumaßnahmen erfolgen und auch die Ergänzung um den Glasneubau fand statt. Das von Stadtbaumeister Wenzel erbaute Gebäude erschließt sich als Dreiflügelanlage. Die Backsteinfassade erfährt architektonische Betonung durch das Mittelrisalit mit dezentem Bauschmuck.
Im Zuge des Antrags zur Ernennung zum Weltkulturerbe der Höhlen der ältesten Eiszeitkunst auf der Schwäbischen Alb haben wir vom Landesamt für Denkmalpflege diese bedeutenden Fundstellen der Menschheitsgeschichte. Hier wurden unter anderem die ältesten Musikinstrumente, aber auch die älteste figürliche Kunst der Menschheit erschaffen, digitalisiert. Es handelt sich um 6 Höhlen, die haben wir mit modernen Verfahren, Laserscanning und 3D-Fotogrammetrie im Prinzip in fotorealistische 3D-Modelle am PC umgesetzt. und haben diese dann auch in einer Virtual Reality App vereint, sodass dem Besucher praktisch von überall auf der Welt der barrierefreie Zugang zu diesen mit bedeutendsten Fundstätten der Menschheit, die wir hier in Baden-Württemberg haben, ermöglicht wird.
Ja, wir sind heute Morgen hier im Herzstück der Landesdenkmalpflege, nämlich im Hauptdienstsitz in Esslingen. Ansonsten sind wir verteilt über das ganze Land Baden-Württemberg. Insgesamt finden sich bei uns ca. 20 bis 30 verschiedene Berufsgruppen. Das reicht vom Grabungsarbeiter über den Archäologen, über die Kunsthistorikerin, den Architekten bis zu Juristen und Verwaltungsbeamten, also das gesamte Spektrum, um die Aufgaben wahrnehmen zu können.
Suchst du oder? Nee. Kannst du ranzoomen? Oder? So, hello. Now online. We will go on in English. Sorry for the German introduction. I hope you realize the subtitles in English. So, welcome to Esslingen. We are not in Stuttgart. We are close to Stuttgart, but our office, our main quarter is in Esslingen. And I would give a very brief introduction of our team. So I'm not Jonas Able. This is Jonas Able. Could you show it? Yeah. So that's Jonas. He's working on the Horneburg. So it's the upper end of the Danube archaeology with the Horneburg. He's one of our researchers, and now he's also partly employed in our EU project. And he is a specialist for digital archaeology, especially GIS, and we hope we can participate in a quite good way to in this project. So this man there is Klaus Wolf. You already know him from the introduction film. He's our president of the whole office. He's in charge for the building management and also for the archaeological service. But today he joined us as the director of the Archaeological State Museum of Baden-Württemberg. This is Manu. Some of you will already know her. She is quite experienced in the management of EU projects, in the funding and the finance, and she loves to travel, and she is very unhappy that we have to meet in this way. And we hope all together that we will join next year somewhere, not virtually, but analog. Analog. This guy there is Roberto Tapini. He's also responsible for the Horneburg, for the management, but also for the research, and he is also working in our project. Myself, I'm Dirk Krause. I'm the head of the Archaeological Management Service here in Baden-Württemberg, and I'm also leading and coordinating the Horneburg research at the Upper Danube. And this guy there is also an archaeologist, but is already retired now, Hans Lang, Long John, and he will give us he will play some typical Swabian music for us. So, Swabian music for us. So, bye-bye, and hope to join you in reality. Okay. Hans, it's your floor. So, bye-bye.
Thanks for Esslingen. We did something wrong with that great-looking food and drinks on your table. We did something wrong. So, thanks again, and let's move to Serbia. So, City Museum of Vršac. I hope we will manage to contact them.
The City Museum of Vršac was founded in 1882 and is one of the oldest museums in Serbia. It is situated in the geographical region of Banat in the northeast of Serbia, and today that region is divided between Serbia, Romania, and Hungary. The museum covers the territory of Serbian southeast Banat, a territory that encompasses fertile flat land, the Vršac Mountains, and numerous small rivers that flow into the Danube. The Danube being a main transversal route in people's migrations that form today the continent we now know as Europe. A rich historical treasure, both immovable and movable, a multinational community with preserved traditions, have enabled us to establish the regional center for Banat heritage. Archaeological finds tell us of a story of the first modern peoples that made their settlements here and then spread slowly throughout the old continent. The Neolithic Revolution brought immigrants from the Middle East, bringing new ways of life and establishing permanent settlements. Dozens of settlements have been registered on the museum's territory, and by the time of the Vinča. One of the largest Vinča settlements was formed not far from today's Vršac, representing the most important distributive center for obsidian on the Vinča territory, a new material that was brought from the Tokaj Mountains. Such a prosperous and rich society had to come under the attack of the less fortunate. The Bronze Age is represented with numerous, yet much smaller groups settling in this area. Old traditions have not been forgotten, as it can be seen in rich ornamentation of the pottery, its forms that still carry some Neolithic legacy. Yet, it is a new era brought by some new people, and different symbols prevail, as can be seen on the famous Vršac idol, or Dupljaja chariot. A great quantity of hordes tell us of violent times, some foreign peoples coming from the east and constantly attacking residents, forcing them to move frequently. The Iron Age brought new conquerors and new fortresses, as can be seen in Židovar, one of the most important Bronze and Iron Age sites in Serbia. Precious metals from both Serbian and Romanian Carpathian mountains attracted Celts, then the Romans, who made a border here with Dacia. With the fall of the Roman Empire, the Banat region was attacked and occupied by Huns, Avars, Goths, and Slavs. By the 10th century, Hungarian tribes dominated the Banat area. In the 13th century, Mongols raided southeast Europe, leaving devastated lands in their wake. In the 14th century, the Serbian despot Đurađ Branković is the one who is believed to be the builder of the Vršac fortress. It is also a period that marks the beginning of a centuries-long conflict with the Ottoman Empire and its subsequent occupation. Through all of these times, the indigenous population had to go on living. Some moved to more secluded places, others stayed and adopted new habits and cultural traits and adapted to new circumstances. In the 18th century, after the defeat of the Ottomans, Serbia looked to be an empty, devastated and abandoned territory. In an attempt to strengthen the newly occupied territories, the Austro-Hungarian Queen Maria Theresia in the 18th century settled thousands of people from different areas of the kingdom. New residents of southeast Banat became people from today's countries of Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland, Germany, and Spain. The legacy of all of these peoples still remains today.
Can you hear us? So, first time connection didn't work. Let's wait for a second or two.
I think myslím, že imamo uživo.
Dragan, you are live. You can
speak. Yes, I'm sorry, we are speaking, we have lots of technical problems, so we are speaking from my mobile phone. We are happy, this is my colleague Ivana Pantovic, and we will be very, very short, so we want to say hello.
Yes, greetings from City Museum Vershot, and we are really honored to be part of this team. And currently we have technical problems, but in the future, I hope we will have more luck with that.
Marco?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Did you hear anything we said?
Yeah, we heard everything. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
And I'm sure after the project you will be technically top. We'll manage this.
Yeah.
Thanks to Serbia.
Greetings to everybody.
Let us move on. So we will stay in the region. Let's go to Bulgaria, to Ruse. So please let us start the video. Sorry.
Hello, Sylvia. I'm part of a social group in this project.
Hello everyone, my name is Iskren and I'm the third element in this team, the team of the Rus Regional Museum of History. As Professor Nenov already mentioned, we are managing several archaeological sites. You have just seen on the video only one of them. This is the medieval town of Chervan, and we truly believe that this project will help us improve the presentation of this archaeological both landscape and heritage in one. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thanks a lot to Bulgaria. So we will have to jump again. So let us continue in Košice in Slovakia. Can you hear us from the Technical University?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello from city of Košice. Can you see me? Because I can see my colleague Martin on the screen. I will present for Košice.
We see just your colleague.
Okay, so this is Martin Dujčak. He unfortunately...
Just open your mouth and speak. Now again back. Yes.
Perfect. I can see myself, so it seems it worked. So hello from city of Košice, from the eastern part of Slovakia. My name is František Janke and I work at the Technical University of Košice. I'm really glad that we can be present today, not only as Martin virtually, but also physically with our colleagues who will help us in the implementation of the project. We have the representatives of Košice self-governing region here and the representative of Monuments Board of the Slovak Republic. We are really looking forward to the project implementation and for the experience we will gain from it, because we will be dealing with the state-of-the-art solutions. So we are really looking forward to this. As you could see in the video, our city is surrounded by beautiful nature and can offer many cultural attractions. From the economical perspective, our region was known for its steel industry for a long time, but times are changing and it's globally recognized as with the sector of information technology, and this is also our task within the project. Also, as you could see in the video, the city of Košice holds the oldest marathon run in Europe and is the second oldest marathon in the world. And this year, the 97th edition will be organized, although very limited. And we are also the city of ice hockey. And this brings me to the music we prepared for you, because in a while you are going to hear the official song of the Ice Hockey World Championships 2019, which took place in Bratislava, in capital, and in Košice. So enjoy it and have a nice time. Bye-bye.
Slovensko je moja vlast, Slovensko je moja vlast, za Slovensko túžim hrať, za Slovensko túžim hrať. Tam na skale vysokej, tam na skale vysokej, tam v doline hlbokej srdcia bijú pre hokej. Tam na skale vysokej, tam v doline hlbokej srdcia bijú pre hokej. Ešte nie je rozhodnuté, chlapci, do toho. Ešte nie je rozhodnuté, chlapci, do toho. Chlapci, do toho. Chlapci, do toho. Chlapci, do toho. Až do brány, až do brány, až do brány, johoho. Chlapci, do toho. Chlapci, do toho. Chlapci, do toho. Až do brány, až do brány, až do brány, johoho. Lepší vyhrá zlato. Hej, hej! Hej, hej! Nedáme sa hlavy hore, chlapci, do toho. Nedáme sa hlavy hore, chlapci, do toho. Chlapci, do toho. Chlapci, do toho. Až do brány, až do brány, až do brány, johoho. Chlapci, do toho, chlapci, do toho, chlapci, do toho. Až do brány, až do brány, až do brány, johoho. Hej, Macejko, Macejko, ko, zahraj mi na cenko, ko, góly buj hráči, nám sa hokej páči. Všetci na to, lepší vyhrá zlato. Hej, hej! Hej, hej! Hej! Slovensko, Slovensko, hráme za Slovensko. Máme všetci na to, lepší vyhrá zlato. Hej, Macejko, Macejko, ko, zahraj mi na cenko, ko, góly buli hráči, nám sa hokej páči. Slovensko! Slovensko! Hej, hej! Slovensko! Slovensko! Hej, hej!
Thanks to Košice. I'm sorry I'm not expert in hockey, but I saw there are lots of shiny faces angestrichen Pfui, where looking they really enjoyed the music. Oh God, we were through with with the communication with the partners, so we're coming back to Graz. So let's start the movies.
Dear colleagues, as head of the Department of Archaeology and Coin Cabinet of the project's lead partner, Universalmuseum Joanneum, I would like to welcome you here also from the auditorium of the Joanneumsviertel to the kick-off event of the project Danube's Archaeological eLandscapes. It's a great pleasure for me to speak these greeting words also on behalf of our project partners. These are the University of Vienna as project partner number 1, today represented by Professor Michael Doneus from the Institute of Prehistoric and Historical Archaeology, a partner with whom we already successfully fulfilled the Iron Age Danube project, the Federal Monument Authority of Austria, a long-term and very important partner of the Universalmuseum Joanneum, which joined our project as associated partner and today is represented by the Deputy Head of the Department of Archaeology, Dr. Eva Steigberger. The second associated partner is the University of Graz, with its Center for Information Modeling, today represented by PhD Leif Scheuer. Internationality is one of the main features of the archaeological collections of the Universalmuseum Joanneum, which was founded in 1811. The reason for this is not only that in the 19th century objects from the Mediterranean and from the Near East came into our museum. The internationality of our collection is also based on the history of Styria itself, which, after the end of the First World War, was split into two parts: the Austrian federal state of Styria and the Steierska region, which is now part of the Republic of Slovenia. For the Department Archaeology and Coin Cabinet of the Universalmuseum Joanneum, international cooperations therefore are natural realities. And I personally am very much looking forward to working on this wonderful project with these terrific and wonderful partners. Thanks a lot.
So thank you, Karl, for these greeting words. We are at the end of the first part, actually. I'm happy that technically we survived. I hope we could present the diversity of the project and also the cultural heritage in the Danube region. We saw a lot of monarchy in the music, in the representation, in the buildings, but archaeologists didn't. And I hope we could raise your curiosity also for the Danube's Archaeological eLandscapes project. You are still welcome to follow us on social media and enjoy also some exclusive looks behind the scenes during the implementation of the project. This project is actually only possible due to the great co-financing by the Danube Transnational program, Interreg program, really connecting the countries in the Danube region from Germany to Bulgaria. And thank you for supporting us also to the colleagues in Budapest. Thank you to all the partners. Have a great continuation of the evening. We will also continue here. My name is Marco Mele. I was your host, and I will continue to be your host. But now we have some more music fun. Strichen Pfui. Oh God, I never managed this. Thank you very much, and we will hear more from you this evening. I'm very happy here in Graz. We will continue with 2 presentations, lectures, demonstrations, and I'm very happy we are able to greet really true profound researchers. On the one side, we have the Professor Dr. Wolfgang Neubauer from the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute for Archaeological Prospection and Virtual Archaeology, and Magister Hans Reschreiter from the Natural History Museum in Vienna. So I would like to invite Professor Neubauer to the stage, and let me introduce him just shortly. So Wolfgang Neubauer studied prehistoric archaeology, computer sciences, and mathematics. He's a corresponding member of the Academy of Sciences, professor at the University of Vienna, director of the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute for Archaeological Prospection and Virtual Archaeology. He's dedicated to the development of modern non-destructive digital technologies for the exploration and documentation of archaeological landscapes, such as Stonehenge, Carnuntum, Birka. Known through his discoveries such as the Gladiator School in Carnuntum and new monuments around Stonehenge and in Scandinavia, he was voted Austrian Scientist of the Year in 2015. I hope I listed half of the stuff you're doing, but please, the stage is yours.
So thank you very much for the friendly invitation to contribute to your kickoff meeting for your new Interreg project. It's now more than 40 years ago that I got hold of the first of 2 prototypes of a completely digital theodolite. And in a weekend we measured the topography around a medieval castle. And this was in Herbruck, where the company Wild, now Leica, had her main seat until today. And we had the chance for the first time to see a geographical information system working. It was a complete room filled up with computers, a screen in the size of this, where they had the first development works done. And then our data just show up as a digital terrain model, as I said, some 40 years ago. And when I came to the University of Vienna, it was an introduction in geodesy, where we heard that in archaeology we will never have these new tools, these digital theodolites. And probably we had them before. But it was the decision for me to study archaeology and computer science. And when I came to the Institute for Prehistory and Early History at that time, the people asked me, what the hell should this be good for? Do you want to have a job later on if you don't find a job in archaeology? I said, no, I just want to use these tools in the future. And I'm really in the belief that this will be the future. And this was somehow a starting point which came up again and again when new technologies just showed up on the scene, when the first 3D laser scanners came up, when the first augmented reality applications came up. So 15 years ago, we had the first projects developed how we could use augmented reality on site. In 2011, we had the first development together with Wikitude, how you could use your smart device directly on site to see virtual reconstructions, and so on and so on. And I'm really honored to be here now and to see how many of these things that have started years and years ago are now just normal. and nobody asks again, what the hell is this good for, and what do we need computers in archaeology for? So I would like to use now this time to introduce you into a very important concept when it comes to the use of technologies, modern technologies, digital technologies. And this is the point of interdisciplinary work. And I have decided to show you something which is directly related to Graz, where a part of my team is working at the medical university, where we try to apply the different concepts and also tools for medical imaging for our non-invasive archaeological prospection approaches. So first of all, the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute, which was founded in 2010, has a clear mission. So we are convinced that we have to develop this technology into the future, that we have to make it efficient, that we have to make it fast, and that this is something which is really, really giving us a new view of archaeological landscapes. Because it's large, applicable, it's fast, and it gets to the point that we really go into very high resolutions. So here we have normal aerial photography, and on the other side, of course, we need also three-dimensional digital terrain models, as here, as a part of Carnuntum, where you see the Danube, where all the forest has gone. And this was a special part of our work on the last 7 years, directed by Michael Doneus, which is also part of the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute. And here you see another site, which is Birka, where you see all the nice burial mounds from the Viking Age, which normally are completely hidden under small birch trees. And these developments have been, from the remote side, from the remote sensing side, very important to come into a visualization of landscapes. But the point is that within the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute, we do not see a landscape as a surface. We see a landscape as a three-dimensional model of the underground. And such a landscape has to be explored also beneath the soil, beneath the surface. And this is the machinery that we use for this. This is a picture from 2003, a magnetometer. This is still the most efficient and sensitive instrument that is existing for this type of work, where we can look into the ground. Of course, now we have to speed up, so we use systems which are not so sensitive but fast. So this is 40 miles in Stonehenge. In Sweden, we had fields where we go up for 70 kilometers per hour. Then I was asked by my colleagues if I'm crazy. So now they go slower and therefore more sensitive for the instrumentation. So I'm breaking all the things down, but this is also part of my job. I have to test the things to their final point. This is the pictures that we actually get out of these machines. So this is 6 hectares. This is something that is possible to measure within 1 hour. So within 1 hour, we have a complete map of a part of a Roman town, but a Roman town is much larger, especially Carnuntum, where we have archaeological zone, where we know that it is really occupied by the Roman towns and the different other installations all around of nearly 10 square kilometers. So this is now a big picture from the civil town, 24 hectares, and still far away from the nearly 10 square kilometers that we have measured within the last years. We use special machinery also for ground penetrating radar. So in the box in front is not a mooring system, it is a ground penetrating radar array with 17 antennas which measure highly efficient, very fast in nanoseconds, and actually send electromagnetic signals in the ground, which makes it possible to actually scan the underground in 3 dimensions. And these 3 dimensions are important because, as I said before, our view on an archaeological landscape is that this is something which is a buried archaeological stratification that we actually would like to explore. And this is a similar picture now from ground penetrating radar. You see much more details in this. It has a much more higher resolution than magnetics. and we combine all these different methodologies into a big data set. We fuse the different data in our computers, and we start then to do an interpretation process. So it's a hierarchical process where we start with very simple lines, where we then go into the single rooms, where we try to find out the different areas within a building or the different areas within a town. And this is the data in the background, which is then used for the virtual reconstructions. So these interpretations are made in 3 dimensions and are the basis for the virtual reconstructions that we build on top of our non-invasively acquisited data sets. And this picture was made for the county exhibition in 2013 in Carnuntum and was based on the data that we got from the forum of Carnuntum. And it was a first model, and probably there might be some changes coming up soon, but this is another story. You have mentioned already the School of Gladiators. The School of Gladiators was something which was really something which went through the world media, where we tried to combine new methodologies from image-based modeling based on the amphitheater, which is still visible in the landscape, coming up with a reconstruction of the 4th largest amphitheater at the time. And really just right on the side of it, we found this very interesting building with a central court, and in the central court 2 circles, training arenas, and the whole thing interpreted as a school of gladiators. There is still several criticism on this finding, and if this really is a school of gladiator, or if this has been used for strange other things. Whatsoever, the complex is more than 1 hectare in size, and it's directly connected to the amphitheater, and it sits outside of everything else. This School of Gladiator was important in 2 respects. First, of course, it was to show the public what is possible with non-invasive methodology. So how can we come very fast to a visualization of a hypothetical past? I never come up to the point when I would say this is what it was. So what we have here is not the truth, but it's based on real facts that we can measure, and we have measured this site again and again, and these facts are in the background. And on top, we use all the information that we have from excavations, from the Roman buildings that have preserved, let's say in Pompeii or Herculaneum or in other sites. We use the information that we have from historical sources like Vitruve, who described how the different things should be built, and of course also the point that we try to come to solutions that fit different criteria, like does it look good or does it look strange? Is it possible to build something like this without breaking down immediately? And so on and so on. So there's a lot of information in the background and a lot of things that we have to consider before we go out to the media, before we go out to the world press. And in the next step, we actually then had more research done on the area so that we could also come up with a reconstruction of the surroundings. But again, this is another story. Let me now come to the point about medical imaging and what we do. So ground penetrating radar is a thing that is delivering 3-dimensional data, and this 3-dimensional data that you here see visualized in black and white is actually the reflectivity of the different interfaces in the ground. So it's not the material, it's the surfaces in between 2 different types of material that we can see here. And the resolution is possibly to see here. These are the single columns of underfloor heating of a hypocaust. So we can imagine these are in a size of 40 by 40 centimeters, piles of tiles in this high, and they are visible within our data. But this was the first step to see that we might come up and combine this with the techniques normally used in medicine. Of course, there's much more money in development in medicine than it is in archaeology, and therefore we have actually here a clear connection, but not that much money. So let's say in medicine, this is about 100 researchers working on something like this, and I'm currently having 2. And they're sitting in Graz, and we visited them in the morning, and they are already developing new strange things, and we are looking forward. Also, looking at the data is very similar. So an expert looks on a medical image, and an archaeologist, which is an expert, looks on the radar data. It's not the people who measure the radar data who do the interpretation. No, it is the expert who knows about an archaeological site or an archaeological building or whatsoever. In medical imaging, there is also a part which is more or less within forensics. And we had a very good Ludwig Boltzmann Institute for Forensics in Graz, which is now closed, and the group from there has now joined our institute. And these developments that they made there were very interesting for me to see, because I could imagine that these developments that they made here for medicine is also applicable for what we do in archaeology. Just we have another situation. The dead person or the patient here is always similar in his basic construction. But an archaeological site is always unique. So a Roman villa is never the same Roman villa when you go to another site. And this is a big problem, because when it comes to the classification of this data, or for the segmentation of this data, we have much more problems within archaeology than we have within medicine, because within medicine there is a skeleton inside, and this should be normally the same. If not, there is an anomaly, or it has been injured by some stabbing, like in this example here. But what you see here is the combination of extracted features within the data set with the data itself. And this is the point where we started to say, well, we try to get this done also with our ground-penetrating radar data. The first step was to go into different types of visualizations. So moving up and down in the data sets is one point. Developing this whole thing into ISO surfaces is another thing. What we do here is just we visualize things to explore how can we actually perceive the content of this data. And in the next step, we came to the point and said, well, actually there's very similar challenges that we have within the medical imaging and in our GPR. We have a lot of noise within there. We have the need for a classification of the data, and we need a special filtering so that we can actually go to see all these different details. And after adoption of one of these new developed visualization systems, we started again to explore the data. So this is not something where you just put it into the software and there it is. No, we have to really develop the things. And this is a very important step. And when we come through such visualizations like here, so this is, again, what we have seen in this virtual reconstruction. It's part of the forum of Canuntum. And here we see a lot of details already. But still, it is not really 3D, and it's not really away from the point that we have really only the archaeological structures. We see too much other things still there. If we go into a filtered situation where we try to focus more on the larger structure and we lose all the small noise, it gets more clearer, as you can see here in this visualization again. And when we then go and try to make the ISO surfaces that you have seen before, using some additional special medical filtering, then it looks even more convincing. And when we now fly into this visualization, you start to see individual stones within the walls. And this is the point that we have never been able to see before. What are we really able to resolve with our ground-penetrating radar machinery? And as you can see here, this looks very convincing. So the individual stone is possibly to measure, and this means that without any excavation, we can visualize more or less the same thing that we could excavate with a huge amount of money, with a huge amount of time. And of course, we have seen before from our colleagues from abroad that a 3D printer is a machine that you even can put in your museum, and people are interested seeing how things that actually are only virtually in the museum to become materialized. And this is the point here. I have not the model with me because I had to give it away on last Monday to a good friend who wants this for next Sunday birthday party of her husband, which died around Christmas, which is Wanda Bertoni, one of the very famous sculptorists in Austria. And he has bought there a large area, and within this large area is a big Roman building. It's a super big Roman building, but this is again another story. And yeah, I brought her this 3D print, and this is now standing around all the other sculptures in the Wanda Bertoni Museum. So that's the reason why I cannot present you this, but you can imagine, you know how 3D printing works, so we can actually materialize the things that nobody can see because they are invisible, buried in the ground. And it's also nearly 20 years ago when I did write my first paper, Making the Invisible Visible. And this was also the year where I made the first paper on, the title was Archaeological Prospection as an Important Application for E-Culture. So, as I said, I'm really, really happy to see all these things happening now. 20 years ago, it was just crazy when you did a paper like this. The combined visualization of these different data is, of course, the next step, where we try to get more into the details. So you see here different forms of using these different parameters. It's more than 56 parameters that we have implemented so far, where we can work with the data to see what is possible to actually get out of these data sets. And it's every time we use a new filter, just crazy when we start to see new things. So you see on the side here, this is a sewer, which takes the rainwater from the roof, and the building itself is the curia at the front of the Forum of Carnuntum. And within this curia, there is this very nice floor, and underneath is the floor heating system that you have seen before in the data set. But let's go a step further on. Important is now to get this development together with what we did normally. So normally we just worked out a manual interpretation of the data with a lot of drawings and worked out of these drawings a 3D model. Taking this 3D model now into this approach that we have seen before is a very important step because we have a kind of pre-classification that is possible for the segmentation of the structures. And if we do so, we can actually segment the individual parts of the building very detailed and without all the different noise and all the disturbing things. The disturbing things is, of course, also archaeologically relevant, but not in this first step. Now we want to have the walls. In the next step, we take all the other things and start to think, what could it be? And this is then again combined with the virtual reconstruction. And therefore, it's really important to have the data in the same way underneath the building to show the people how this sewer here worked aside the building, that the roof water really went into there, and so on. So this is what we call a way to say, to show that all what we actually reconstruct is based on the facts, is based on authentic, remeasurable things. And now let's have a larger view on the Forum of Carnuntum. We just fly into this large data set. So it needs rather large computers, and my colleagues today in the morning had a good time. They got a new computer system from me because they made so good work, and I hope then it gets even faster and faster. But you see how fact is combined with hypothesis, and this is an important point, because if not, whatever you do within your projects, the people will say, is this the reality? No, of course, it's not a question about reality. It's a question which is far away from this. It's what is possible based on the facts that we still can say this is a hypothesis which is scientifically valid. And that's the most important thing. And this is also something that you should take in mind whenever you go into the museums and do your presentations. Never tell the people that this is the truth. Thank you very much. Can I just give a small word on another project that is in parallel, and I hope that we will find some. Can I just have the screen once again for a minute? And this is Living Danube, Limes. So this is the second project which was actually accepted in Austria, and we are lead partner, and it would be really nice to work together also in the next years. And we have a very nice thing. We take our machinery and we make a roadshow along the Danube to the Black Sea. And at the moment, they have started to build a Roman ship. And this Roman ship will, in the end of the project, move from Germany down to the Black Sea. And in every country, there will be a site where we go for a big event, for a big party. Thank you very much.
So, thanks a lot for the presentation. I think this is also the reason why we also invited, one of the reasons, because now we have two really major projects in this Interreg Danube program which are complementary and which will hopefully really create great impact. Before we continue, let's have a short break with some music. So I have to read this title. It's Geschlichenfui with Damenjagd. thanks a lot to our house band. Let us continue with archaeology. So Hans, please welcome on the stage. Hans Reschreiter, he's an archaeologist. He works in the prehistoric department of the Natural History Museum in Vienna. He leads the archaeological excavations in the Hallstatt salt mines. His main research interests are prehistoric salt production, prehistoric crafts, also experimental archaeology, ethnoarchaeology. He's known also as the finder of the oldest known wooden staircase in Europe in a mining chamber in Hallstatt, so dating back to the Bronze Age. Hans, please take us under earth.
Yes. Yes, thanks a lot for the invitation and thanks a lot for the possibility to be part of this kick-off meeting. Hallstatt delivered salt for thousands of years to the Danube region, so Hallstatt always was part of the Danube region. Yes, we go back to invisible heritage, as Wolfgang already mentioned. The next minutes we will spend in this beautiful valley. This is the oldest industrial and cultural landscape we know in which production still is happening. It's the production of salt. There's no other landscape in the world with a longer production. Yes, it's all about this. This special valley is nearby Graz. It's in the Eastern Alps. And yes, we are dealing with this small area here. We can prove 7,000 years of production, starting in Stone Age, with stone picks and antler picks, and continuing up to now with very modern machines. The traces of this production, normally you can't see. Also, we have 7,000 years of production. It's a lovely valley, but no traces are visible on the surface, because nearly all the traces are hidden hundreds of meters below ground. Some of these traces we are excavating and analyzing with our research partners. All the prehistoric sites had been discovered by accident due to modern mining activities. Here in gray, the modern tunnels, and in green and blue, the prehistoric sites. Many of these sites are not accessible for the public. That's the reason why we managed to realize a virtual tour inside the mine. This was part of another Interreg project we finished a few months ago. Now it's possible to enter the Hallstatt salt mine digital through one of our main tunnels, Empress Christina Tunnel. And after 400 meters, we enter the center of our research at the moment. This is the site Christian Tuschwerk. Here we have more than 150 meters of research tunnels in a Bronze Age mine. And with all these tunnels and the core drilling, we think we can reconstruct the shape and the size of this Bronze Age mines, more than 3,000 years old. Here we have other Bronze Age mines in Hallstatt. Now we switch to early Iron Age. Here we also researched several sites in the last 60 years. We start our journey in this gallery down here. This is a gallery where prehistoric remains of the mining activity are preserved. And from this place, we can reconstruct the biggest prehistoric gallery we know. This gallery is more than 300 meters long, 20 to 25 meters high, and 10 to 30 meters wide. And this gallery collapsed 662 before Christ, but a few years later, the next gallery was organized, and the next gallery and so on. So we can prove that this part of the salt deposit was very intensive used in prehistory. So we have several huge prehistoric mines. And with our excavation tunnels and with the core drilling, we get good information about the shape and size. One of these Bronze Age galleries, it's double as wide as this room, 3 times as long as this room, 4 times as high as this room. This is only one of these galleries. But we are not only interested in the size of these galleries, we are also interested in these types of waste the prehistoric miners left behind. Because in this waste, everything the miners left behind is perfectly preserved. This is one of our research tunnels cutting through these layers of waste. And this perfect condition of preservation, this was one of the main reasons that Hallstatt was nominated World Heritage Site. There are only 2 other prehistoric salt mines in the world. Beside Hallstatt, then we have Dürnberg in Hallein, also in Austria, and Sherabad in northwest Iran. This place is important because several mummies of prehistoric miners could be excavated in this place. In Hallstatt, within these layers of waste, everything is preserved the miners left behind thousands of years ago. We find thousands of burned down torches, like this. We find thousands of wooden objects. Meanwhile, more than 1,000 of these pick handles, shovels, bowls, cups, splint boxes. We have hundreds of leather and fur objects. We have the oldest rucksack we know in Europe. It's quite perfect to use. Yeah, it's like this. We have carrying bags from Bronze Age, we have shoes and all the other stuff. We have caps from Bronze Age. In addition, we have hundreds of woolen textiles. All of them have the original color they had 2,600 years ago. We have ropes, the thickest ropes we know in prehistory in Europe. You can carry more than 1,000 kilograms with them. We even have the perfect preserved excrements of the miners. Yes, and with all this stuff, we can reconstruct the conditions of working and living inside these mines. But we are not only interested in conditions of working and living, we are also dealing with resource management. We are dealing with wrapping. Prehistoric peppers had been wrapped with bast stripes, like this. Today we use plastic bags. So we research in the history of wrapping, one-way wrapping, and things like this. We're also dealing with resilience and with crisis. We can prove that the Hallstatt miners faced things like this several times. So these mine workings were interrupted several times, but the network around Hallstatt was so stable it was no problem for the Hallstatt people to continue and to start again. So we are dealing with several things in Hallstatt, but nearly nothing of the things are visible in Hallstatt. As I mentioned, 7,000 years of history from Stone Age up to now. Last year we had 500,000 visitors standing in Hallstatt, admiring the landscape, but none of them realized that they had been standing in a really unique landscape. And also if you are inside the mine, in our research tunnels, you get no idea of the shape, of the dimension of these prehistoric mines. And this was the starting point for our VR project, because you have no idea how huge these prehistoric galleries were. And therefore we started 2 years ago together with the mining company, with Ilya, he's in the backyard, and with Xenomedia to build here a VR room. And with this VR room now it's possible to be part of the Bronze Age mine, to get a feeling of these mines, to be part of the workflow in this mine. So this is the first step. You will see a demonstration in a few seconds. We're going on with apps and augmented reality, and we're also planning a game, a prehistoric game to Hallstatt. So yes, we want to visualize this landscape and show the feeling of Bronze Age miners. This is embedded in many partners, but let's start the VR. Yes, it's a Bronze Age mine. And Ilya will start in one of these huge prehistoric shafts with a diameter of more than 10 meters, if it works. Yes, he's already standing on one of these platforms in the shaft, looking down in the gallery, and with the teleporter he can walk down. And now Ilya is in the center of this huge gallery, as I mentioned, more than 50 meters long, 25 meters wide, and up to 15 meters high. With the teleporter, he can walk around. And the goal of the project was not only to give an image of the size and the workflow, it was also important for us to give the background information. Here, for example, we have bacon inside the mine. If you click on the researcher tool, you get the information why we know that bacon was produced in Hallstatt, what is the background information. So it's not only a visualization, it's also a tool to give more information about the Hallstatt salt mines. This is the wooden staircase. It was already mentioned by Marco. Here we have the miners working on the staircase, transporting the salt. And you also get the background information about this special wooden construction. We tried to show the complete working process inside the mine, from breaking the salt, sorting the salt, transporting the salt. This man is repairing one of the pick handles. The next shaft, the next gallery below. Yes, the information to the bags, like this. And it's also possible to get information about our research tunnels. So you can visualize the tunnels I showed you before. Yeah, cracking the salt in a special technique. Yes, and all the tools and the size of the gallery, all these things are based on our excavations. So it's the same as Wolfgang mentioned, you have to show what is the basis of your reconstruction. Oh, sorry. Ilja, kannst du noch die Forschungstunnel einblenden? Yeah, these are the research tunnels we excavated in the last 30 years. So this VR is also a training tool for our new students to get an idea in which tunnels they are working and what is the next step in our research. Yeah, this was a small glimpse to our VR. The next step is to continue this VR on the surface and to go in a game, including the work inside the mine and also the landscape outside the mine. Machst du noch kurz das Spiel, oder?
Und da gehen wir jetzt los vom Bergwerk. Sind leider noch immer ein bisschen so Level-Loading-Probleme, die wir da noch haben. Deswegen ruckt es manchmal ein bisschen. Ich werde mal ein bisschen vorspringen. Da sind wir gleich beim Haus, weil da sieht man ein bisschen so die Interaktivität, die das Spiel haben soll, also angelehnt an normale Open-World-Computerspiele. Das ist quasi, man kann Dinge aufheben, Dinge verwenden, hat ein Inventar, muss essen, hat Hunger, hat Durst. Die Tiere sollten auch schon reagieren. Ne? Bisschen spät, aber doch. Und ja, jetzt sieht man zum Beispiel, dass er Ressourcen noch sammeln kann mit der Axt. Die hat er jetzt in seinem Inventar. Und er geht jetzt dann gleich runter zum Gräberfeld. So Fluss. Also Flüsse und Wege sind jetzt dabei angelehnt an wie es im Moment ist.
The landscape is the original landscape as we have it in Hallstatt at the moment, and the main group of visitors in Hallstatt are school children. And we think that we can give the information about our research with a game like this to them. Okay, that's about Hallstatt. Thanks a lot.
So, thank you, Hans, for this virtual trip to the mines. Thank you for showing the stuff we won't be able to afford in the short period of our project. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, we have reached actually the end of today's event. Please continue to follow the project, and I hope we can greet you next time at better circumstances. Thank you, and stay well, stay healthy, and let us hear one more time from Gestrichen Pfui. Stiegen wird Franzé. yeah.